Tarzan character has been around since its first publication in 1912. In all variations, Tarzan is exceptionally strong as he is raised in the wild by Mangani apes. No surprise, the Tarzan lift is designed to make the base look strong. It is the opposite of a conventional lift, with the spotlight centered on the base and the task of the flyer simplified. When learning this lift, start out with both people facing forward side by side. Have the flyer stand with her feet slightly apart and her arms stretched out. The base should position his palms in a neutral stance with the fingers facing up. He should first place the hand that's furthest away from the flyer on her ribcage a few inches away from her shoulder, followed by putting the hand closest to the flyer on the inner thigh of the leg that's furthest away from him. With the base's hands in position, the flyer should now squeeze her thighs together and align her arms next to her body. Do this in a way to lock down the base's hands in position, fastening the hands securely in place. Now that you're in position, the base needs to squat really deep. Remember leg power. The flyer needs to do a small squat and plank her body as hard as she can. The flyer should now jump up and slightly over the base while remaining fully on her side. The base should employ a shoulder press lifting technique and push the flyer straight up over his head. If you're thinking this looks an awful lot like a gym exercise or Olympic lifting, you're not wrong. Remember, this lift is intended to showcase the base's strength in a robust way. Despite this, the flyer's job is more than just lifting weights. She needs to jump in the beginning, followed by holding as still as she can, planking, in the air. Once you have it down, you can start to make it look less like a lifting competition and more like a show. One way is by skipping the middle phase and going straight to the top. This requires you to have all phases of this lift under control, since you will be transitioning really quick from a standstill into a full overhead press. The flat press Tarzan is a variation of this lift that makes it more traditional in the sense that its emphasis is to showcase the flyer and the base's job is primarily to lift. This flat press Tarzan is a lot harder, so make sure you mastered the Tarzan before you do this. This variation is also very straining on the flyer. Start out with the flyer standing in front of the base's sternum. Have the base put one hand in a V-shape on the flyer's back at the highest tip of her thorax right before it becomes her cervicals. The flyer should have her arms stretched straight overhead and lift the leg closest to the base to 90 degrees. The base should follow this by putting his other arm on the thigh of her lifted leg between the glutes and her knee, favoring the side of her glutes. He should squat down but be so close that his sternum makes contact with her leg. Before you go, make certain your hand is really on the flyer's thorax and absolutely not her cervicals. In other words, her neck. The human neck is not designed to handle supporting the weight of a human being, and you could cause serious harm to your flyer if you have your hand on her cervicals. Once you've established you are indeed in the correct position, have the flyer and base squat together, ensuring the base stays in contact with the flyer's leg. The flyer should now jump up hard and throw her arms back gently, not too hard, while the base lifts in the same way as he would with a regular shoulder press technique. In the air, the flyer needs to plank much harder than she would with a regular Tarzan lift, while keeping her legs straight and together. To make this lift prettier, the flyer can bend the knee of the opposite leg, the leg furthest away from the base. Don't bend the leg that the base is holding, or the pressure of the hand digging into the leg could cause a lot of pain, and you will most likely put your foot in the base's face. Keep this leg engaged and straight. With both the Tarzan and the flat press Tarzan, remember to bring your partner down to chest height first before you gently place the flyer down. Always put the flyer down gently. This even more so for the flat press Tarzan because the flyer in fact cannot see the ground. The Tarzan Drop. A spectacular ending that does get audiences gasping. When learning this, first lower your flyer to chest height and balance her on the base's chest, taking most, not all, the weight off of the base's hands. With the flyer in position, have the flyer grab the base's wrist with her thumb facing towards her head in a thumbs up position. Once you have a good grip, you will now need to bend the leg that the base is holding. If the base balanced the flyer on his chest properly, it will give his hand the freedom to slightly rotate and grip the flyer's knee. Now slowly bring the flyer down and practice the switch. This happens when the flyer's body starts to fall and you no longer have contact with her body. At this point, the base needs to grab the flyer's hand that's gripping his wrist. This lift is not too bad in difficulty, but the timing is essential. It also brings one complication, and it's a big one. Although it does not look like it, this trick is actually a catch mechanic. The flyer is dropped and the base has to catch her a death-defying split second before she hits the ground, and you have to strike a pose of "I meant to do that." Because the catch is so close, literally inches off the floor, there is no way to save the flyer if it goes wrong. Screw this up and she kisses the ground. For that reason, you're going to want to put down mats while you first train this drop, and you're going to want to have the Tarzan mastered. And that is our Tarzan tutorial. How did you do? Be sure to post your progress on Instagram and tag us at Cirque-it Official so we can see how you did. If you have any questions or comments or a lift you would like a tutorial to, please leave us a message in the sections below. Also, consider subscribing and ringing the bell. It really helps us out. I am Javed from Team Cirque-it, and we'll see you next time.